On this episode of Politickin with Eddie, I offer my loud 2 cents on the 2020 candidates, all of them, and then I sit down with rapper Trev Rich of Elevate fame, which is off the excellent Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack. And we talk about music, Trump, mental health in the black community, and his time spent as a protege of sorts with Joe Budden, and lots more. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so as I read this, it is May 8th, 2019, and we're just going to go through very quickly a list of all of the announced Democratic nominees for the presidency for 2020, and just offer a few thoughts for all of them. And for one who's not yet, again, as of May 8th, 2019, officially announced, but he's almost certainly going to announce in the coming next very few days. Old boy Nate over here is going to say some names, and then I'm going to say some things about these people, and that's how we'll do this.
Cool. All right, Michael Bennett in Colorado.
So Michael Bennett is one of my current senators. He's a really nice guy, really smart guy. The thing that I would say about Michael Bennett is bleh. I feel like in most of these primaries, in almost every presidential primary, when you have someone who, almost everyone, and I'm sure we can include Michael Bennett himself, considers a long shot, they are running on a specific issue that they want more attention towards. Again, I've been in Colorado for 5 years now. I've worked in Colorado politics for a while. I don't know what his issue is going to be in this primary. I just don't know. I don't know how he's going to distinguish himself. Again, another no-name white man to 49 of these states. So I just don't know. John Hickenlooper, again from Colorado. He was the previous governor. He was a good governor, a sensible governor, a likable guy to most people. I would say that. There's someone listening to this that would disagree with that. But he's likable to most people, a good retail politician. I don't know what the hell he's doing running for president. Again, this is another situation where, what is his issue? He's a very middle of the road, super centrist kind of guy, who really does not fit in with pretty much the entire field. He comes from a business background, which is cool for some people and not cool for others. So I just don't know what he's going to run on. He, at the same time, he is being the governor in Colorado from the time when marijuana was legalized. That will be a huge identifier with a lot of people. However, Hickenlooper is not a huge fan of marijuana, so that's going to be an interesting navigation for him in this primary, considering the bulk of these candidates are for legalization at this point. And this is now the governor of Colorado, who really was not keen on it within his own state. Let's go on.
So let's go on the heavy hitters here. Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. Well, Joe Biden is super knowledgeable, specifically in regards to foreign policy. He's not going to be. He's the opposite of a hawk, which a lot of young progressives really should examine, because again, he's not someone who's going to launch wars needlessly. Seasoned, obviously, and I'll just say it. I think he is exceedingly electable for the presidency in 2020. I'm one of these people that I happen to believe that the base is going to turn out regardless of who the Democratic nominee is. We didn't have a nominee for president last year, and the base turned out like they haven't before to elect Democrats across the board, and there was not this single unifying candidate. They went out because people do not like Trump. That is what this comes down to. And so whoever the Democratic nominee is, the base is almost certainly going to come out in record numbers. We do need someone who is going to be electable, who's going to be more likable with some of these people that voted for Trump in 2016. And Joe Biden is this kind of guy. I'm still personally undecided as to who I'm going to back, but I think that anyone that disregards Joe Biden at this point, I just think it's irresponsible.
Cory Booker
is I like Cory Booker. He's a nice looking dude. He's really, really, really smart. Sensible. You could take that any number of ways. I don't like his campaign because he's trying to run this super positive, nice guy campaign against the most unlikable, negative, outright mean person that's ever been in the Oval Office. And we are also living in the most divisive time politically, since what, the Civil War? I don't know. It's just not going to work, and it's not only going to work in a general. It's not what the base wants. It's not what the Democratic primary voters are going to want. They want someone who is going to be able to confront Trump, and Cory Booker is kind of painting the opposite picture.
Mayor Pete Buttigieg.
Pete Buttigieg, I really, really like Pete. I have liked Mayor Buttigieg since the DNC elections in 2017. He is exceedingly intelligent. I mean, he's a former Rhodes Scholar, a guy with very, very good military experience. Obviously everybody knows by now he speaks several languages. He's well traveled. One of the knocks that people have used against him is that he hasn't been on the national stage for long, and that he's a mayor. He's a mayor of a small city. I forgot off the population off the top.
South Bend.
Well, it's South Bend, Indiana. I forgot the population off the top of my head. Something like 120,000 people. I happen to think experience governing a city is exceedingly helpful. It's probably more helpful than being a member of the House of Representatives running for the presidency, because actually hands-on how American cities are functioning, and how they work, and what needs to be improved on a more micro level than when you're nowhere near that stuff. And I think he's an extremely likable guy. He doesn't dodge hard questions. He knows what he's talking about. And I think this is a guy, they're painting him as a centrist. I don't think he is a centrist. I think he's a progressive who is capable of working with non-progressives. And we definitely need that in a commander-in-chief.
Julian Castro.
Again, I really like Julian Castro. He did some great work in the Obama administration. His campaign just really hasn't taken off at all. Other than being the Latino candidate, I don't know what else he has done. And as someone who pays pretty damn close attention to this thing, I don't know really what he's done to help distinguish himself among the rest of the pack at this point. There might be policy proposals in the making to come out soon, something to shake up his campaign. I don't know, but it's been exceedingly lukewarm as of yet.
John Delaney.
Oh, yeah. Former Rep. John Delaney. Almost no one listening to this will know who John Delaney is. I didn't know who John Delaney is for the longest time. He's a former congressman. He served 2 terms, I believe. But I didn't know at all. I've never heard of him before, I think, like May or June of 2017, when I'm a part of several lists, email lists for people that work in politics. That might be networking groups. I was an Obama staffer, so I'm a part of several of those. And basically, starting in early to mid 2017, there started being job hirings for John Delaney for president, 2020. And again, this was at the latest mid 2017, before anyone else had announced they were running for president. As it looked ridiculous to announce you were running for president a few months after the inauguration. I don't know why he's running for president. He's a bald guy. He's a bald white guy. I don't know what else to say about him. He doesn't have a chance in hell, but Godspeed, John Delaney.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Fuck Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, what do I want to say about Tulsi Gabbard? She's a racist. She doesn't like LGBTQ people. She was formally against gay marriage or gay civil unions, which is a pretty hard line stance to take if you consider yourself a progressive in the Democratic Party. Like I said, she's a racist, very closely aligned with Hindu nationalists, she met with President Assad of Syria just a couple years ago. Somehow she's still serving in Congress after that, which I find interesting. There's already a high-profile Democratic challenger to her congressional seat for 2020 that a lot of groups are raising money for. So I don't imagine that she will even be in Congress anymore in 2020, let alone win the Democratic nomination. This is somebody who is openly taunted in late night shows. Full Frontal has had a few jokes at her expense, and Stephen Colbert. She's just a shitty person who needs to be taken out of the Democratic Party. And what's further, you hear a lot of we can call them this, Bernie Bros, say that their dream ticket is Bernie Sanders for president and Tulsi Gabbard. No, I'll just leave it at that.
Kirsten Gillibrand.
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York. I've never liked her because she she's a big flip-flopper. She used to be all about guns, gun owners' rights and such, and now that us on the left are not too keen about regular school shootings. I say this right now on this day where there was a school shooting here in the Denver area where one kid was killed and several other were injured. So now it's obviously not in vogue to be in the Democratic Party and be pro-gun anymore. It's a very, very difficult position to take, and she calls herself a progressive. As she's running for president right now in 2019, she calls herself a progressive, but and now has changed her views on this kind of situation. But this is just one example of many where she's changed her views. She's also, a lot of people, myself included, also don't like her for the way that she's the one who kneecapped Senator Al Franken of Minnesota, who, again, in retrospect, nearly everyone who's reasonable now views that as complete bullshit, as he really didn't do anything wrong. The woman that exposed him was, as a shill for Fox News, and a lot of people viewed Al as a possible leading contender for the presidency in 2020. I actually viewed him as such. This was a guy who's super knowledgeable about policy, but he started out as a comedian. So he could get up on that stage, on a debate stage with Donald Trump, and go toe-to-toe with him, in terms of these jabs, but be way more clever and actually know what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to policy. So I think that, personally, from rumors and just from what I've gathered, she purposely put the pressure on him and did things behind the scenes and talked to other people to get the pressure on him to step out of office. And he was one of our most effective senators. So, and again, a potential rival for the 2020 nomination. So, and I think she's a very boring candidate. I think Trump would make her look very bad on a debate stage, and I don't think she offers much as a president or as a general election nominee. Mike Gravel. Former Senator of Alaska, Mike Gravel. I'm a big, huge fan of his 2008 presidential campaign. A lot of us Obama staffers were huge fans, even though we were working for Obama while Mike Gravel had a lot of critical things to say about our candidate. If you don't remember him, I would urge you to go to YouTube and just search Mike Gravel Rock. It's an actual campaign ad that he used in 2008 when he was running in the Democratic primary, and it's my favorite campaign ad of all time. It's the most unique campaign ad for any major party candidate, I think. It's unbelievable. But Mike Gravel, I don't know what to say about him. He's 88 years old. People are talking about is Joe too old? Well, this guy's got a good 10 years on him. He's still sharp as ever. He's a very smart guy. He kind of, in an interview, he revealed the reason for jumping in the race recently was, I think a couple of teenagers, I think they might still be in high school, convinced him to get into the race after discovering his 2008 short-lived campaign. And so his campaign is being run, I believe, by like 17-year-olds. And I think he's admitted that he has no chance in hell at winning, but that he's running for the hell of it, I suppose. But yeah, shout out to Mike Gravel.
Kamala Harris.
Senator Kamala Harris of California. I think she's running a really, really good campaign. She's running a much better campaign than I expected. She's got some good people working for her. I just want something. I want more from a potential president in 2020. This is someone who previously was the Attorney General of California. In a very, very blue state. She was the Democratic Attorney General of California. And at a time when other states were looking at were reviewing lessening sentences for drug offenses and letting people go, and she was all about prosecuting people for bullshit. And again, she's now in a different situation. She's a junior senator who's been there a little bit, and she's been great in the Senate, you know, in terms of getting lots of airtime and being, you know, a great prosecutor with witnesses in the Senate that she needs to be hostile towards. But again, this is where a completely different arena, and she's not brave enough for what we need for a commander-in-chief in 2020. You know, she will essentially, I think she's again one of the vast majority of candidates that will, in any form of political office, that will do as they see necessary, that will do anything as they see necessary in order to advance. And, you know, when she, one of the things I can cite is when she was giving the interview, I forgot, was it with Sway?
Oh, one of the, yeah.
I think it was with Sway, where they asked her about had she smoked weed,
Yeah.
and she kind of, well, she lied, that she, you know, insinuated that she used to smoke on the regular while listening to Tupac in college. Well, then again, and then they went back and saw the years that she was in college, Tupac was not out yet. So it's shit like that where she's just trying to appeal to whoever the audience is at that moment. I don't like that. I don't like that disingenuous approach, which, you know, is kind of the opposite of what I like about Pete Buttigieg. I mean, he's just you get that genuine feel from him. And I'm talking about Pete Buttigieg again, so let's move on to the next one. Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders. I don't even know where to start about Bernie Sanders. What I would say is, number one, I think Bernie Sanders, I really like him quite a bit. I like him quite a bit. Personally, I think he's an exceedingly likable guy. But I don't think he has, especially in this crowded primary, where there's, I believe, 22, or with another one shortly, I believe we'll be at 23, either 22 or 23 announced candidates. I don't think it's the same as 2016, where he's going to be the number two person. I think him and his acolytes have been so successful in popularizing his policies in 2016 in the primary that were then fringe policies in the Democratic Party. He's been very successful in getting so many of these policies integrated into the mainstream of the party since then. And, you know, like Medicare for All is something that's standard with pretty much all of these candidates. So a lot of what distinguished Bernie from Hillary is kind of been adopted from almost all these other candidates. At the same time, so I don't think he has much room to grow beyond his really rock solid base, which, you know, again, in a crowded field might be enough to get him to the general. I personally don't hope he wins, for a couple of reasons off the top of my head. Again, I like him. I like a lot of his policies. But I think he's extremely unrealistic about getting most of these, if any, of these headline policies implemented. You're not going to get Republican support for plainly socialist programs, or even if they're not plainly socialist programs, you're not going to get any Republican support for, you know, any kind of these massive policy proposals that he's brought about recently. It's unrealistic to think he's going to get bipartisan support, and we live in a country where that is completely necessary to move forward. There's that, and I think that even if he were to be elected, I think that he would get wiped out by Donald Trump. I think that the fact that he is an open socialist, the fact that he went on his honeymoon, you know, to Moscow, you know, when it was still the Soviet Union, I think that, you know, and he said positive things about Fidel Castro, and there's a lot to go through the career of Bernie Sanders that the Republicans could paint him as a terrible, terrible, scary human being. And yeah, I'm not too keen on a lot of the people he surrounds himself with either. So these are just my collection of, off the top of my head, what about Bernie. So Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. I really, really like Senator Elizabeth Warren. It's one of these things that, you know, there's groups of who would be the best nominee that would actually have the best chance of running against Trump. And then there's who do you think would be the most effective president? You know, these two groups. And there's very little crossover with the candidates in these groups. I don't put Elizabeth Warren in the super electable, super is likely going to beat Donald Trump category. I think that Donald Trump almost certainly would beat her in a general election. However, I do believe she would make an extremely effective president. But I don't think that she could beat Donald Trump. I think Trump would treat her like he treated Hillary Clinton. You know, even though she's a very different person than Hillary Clinton. But you know, her campaign is improving. Her numbers are slightly going up. But she's had a couple of self-inflicted wounds. You know, the thing with the DNA testing, obviously. But I know she's got some smart hires, and I think she'll be one of the end candidates. I think she'll make it to the end. I would imagine, or close to the end. So we'll see. Jay Inslee, governor of Washington State. He's a very, very good governor. Very popular in Washington. You know, he's probably one of these people. Sorry, the mic might have messed up there. Or rather, the mic might have messed up there. He's one of these people that, almost certainly, no one who's not super into politics knew who Jay Inslee was outside of the state of Washington before when he announced. But I knew who he was. I spent some time in Washington State, and I'm working politics, and yeah. So but I'm actually excited about his campaign. I don't anticipate that he'll win the primary or be president someday. But I think this is one of these things where he's running on climate change. That's his issue for this campaign. I don't think he thinks he's going to be president, but I think this is his issue that he is pushing. He's been very good about it in Washington State, and I think it's absolutely terrible that there has not been enough discussion about climate change so far in the Democratic primary. It is the most urgent issue that affects us as a species and this planet, and we're not prioritizing it. And I think we need a candidate that is going to talk about it a lot and is going to bring it to the forefront. And I'm very, very glad that we have a candidate that's going to do it this time, and I'm glad that he's a very intelligent and well-spoken and seasoned guy to do it. So I look forward to hearing some stuff from Jay Inslee about climate change.
Amy Klobuchar.
Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota. I really, really like her quite a bit. I have for a while. She's extremely intelligent. She has got good working relationships with a lot of people in the Senate on both sides of the aisle. Again, I think she's a progressive, and I think she's one of these, as I call them, progressives that get things done. That's kind of my camp. And I think the most high-profile thing she's been talked about, that's been discussed in her campaign, was that the New York Times and some other publications, wrote articles about that she's a mean boss. She has the highest turnover rate of any senator in the Senate in terms of staff, and like a lot of people have complained that she's just really kind of mean sometimes and says some insulting things to her staff. The pushback against that would be that she's very demanding, and there's an equal number of people that have pushed back and said, we worked for her, and she's hard, she can be hard to work with, but she's worth it. She knows what she's doing, and it's worth it. And so I like her. I hope she does well in the primary. I think she is someone that could stand on a debate stage with Trump and really go toe-to-toe with him. She's very, very strong with words, and probably at least 15 times smarter than Donald Trump. So, yeah, I like her.
Wayne Messam.
I'm sorry?
Wayne Messam.
Wayne Messam?
M-E-S-S-A-M.
Oh, that's the mayor of
Florida.
The mayor of Miramar, Florida.
Yes.
I don't know him, which is funny because.
Did he just run for something else?
No, you're thinking of.
I'm thinking of someone else. I am thinking of someone else.
It's funny that I don't know much about him, because Miramar is like 10 minutes away from where I'm from and where I lived most of my life in South Florida. And I've even lived in Miramar at various points. But he became mayor after I moved to Denver. It's funny, Miramar has a bigger population than South Bend, Indiana, where Mayor Pete Buttigieg is mayor. But past that, I don't know why the hell this guy's running for president. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't have anything to say about him. Beto O'Rourke. He does not have a current job. Former representative of current member of the House of Representatives, and a guy who used to play with the band at the drive-in, or with members of the band at the drive-in. The thing about Beto is I like Beto. Like, again, he seems like a cool guy to like hang out with and such. And it was cool in was cool, like last year when he made the race in Texas so competitive, especially because everyone hated or hates, present tense, Ted Cruz. But so we're in now. He's decided to run for president, and I'm asking myself, all right, but why is he better than these 21 other people? Why is he better? Like his, youthful energy and such. We got some of those people in the race. We got some of those people with a much better resume in the race, who have a real message other than like jumping on tables and such. And so my thing is, it's just, he feels like his candidacy so far feels rather empty to me. So, I wish he had stayed in Texas and ran against John Cornyn next year, but all right. But he's running for president. I don't know. Feels like an empty campaign so far. We'll see.
Bill de Blasio.
Oh, Bill de Blasio, the current mayor of New York City. Yeah, as of right now, he hasn't officially announced, but according to a lot of people that I know and everybody whispering and all kinds of such, he's going to announce. It's what is it? Wednesday right now. He's going to announce. I thought he was going to announce this week, to be honest. So it might still be, this week, or it could be next week. But I am fairly positive he's going to announce in the next couple weeks. I'm not a New Yorker. I know a lot of New Yorkers that are not big fans of his. I don't know. I don't know what he would run on. What his message would be in this campaign and this primary. How he would present himself as better than all these other people. Who is his natural constituency in this primary? I just can't see it. I don't know. Andrew Yang. I'm against Andrew Yang for like a few reasons. My primary reason is he wants to make circumcision illegal in the United States. Like, seriously? There's religious aspects to this, and then, let's just stick with the religious aspects. That for me, that's insane. I realize a lot of people are rather keen on his $1,000 a month basic minimal income policy, which we're going to hear a lot more from other people in years to come as automation becomes more and more integrated into our society. But I don't really see, he's a successful businessman. I don't care for the fact that he's, a lot of people on the right seem to like him. I guess it's a lot of white nationalists actually like him, which is interesting. A lot of memes in his favor. I don't know. I don't think that this guy will be president. So I feel like I've already talked about him for 5-10 seconds, much too long than he deserves. Seth Moulton, the representative in the House of these current congressmen. I'm sorry. I believe he served in the military. He was in the military. He served in Iraq. He's been in the House of Representatives for a minute. Again, this is one of those things where I don't know what he's going to run on. No one knows who he is outside of if you watch a lot of MSNBC or are a constituent of his. You don't know who this man is, and so he's got to have something that he's running on, and Let's see. Tim Ryan, a guy who really desperately wanted to be the new Speaker of the House and tried to oust Nancy Pelosi. Again, his whole thing that he's running on, being from the Midwest, is his argument is the same as Joe Biden's. He can appeal to these white working class people in a way that the Democratic Party hasn't in a long time. Except Joe Budden is running for president as well, and he's Joe Budden. Tim Ryan is good at what he does in Congress, but no one knows who he is, and he's got to do, like a lot of these people, like I've said previously, like a lot of these people, he's got to do something to distinguish himself, in a way. Again, another white guy who looks like everyone else who's run for president before him. He's got to do something key to distinguish himself.
Marianne Williamson.
I don't know who the fuck that is. Go on.
Last one, Eric Swalwell.
Eric Swalwell.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. It's Eric Swalwell. The guy, Eric Swalwell is also a current member of the House of Representatives. He's on Real Time with Bill Maher a lot. That's a bad thing for some people, and a good thing for others. But I'll just let that speak for itself. He represents a really liberal district in California. Really, really sharp guy. Really, really good with communicating in a way that Pete Buttigieg is good at speaking to people. He is as well. Not quite on the same level, but he's quite good. Again, I don't think he has a chance, but yeah.
That's it?
That's it. It only took 41 minutes and 31 seconds to go through all of these candidates. So, already, thank you so much. On to the next. So it's the second half of our second episode. So let's talk about our guest. Trev Rich is a rapper, songwriter from Denver, Colorado. A lot of you might have gotten to know him recently because he does the hook on the Elevate song on the Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack, which is produced by DJ Khalil and has Denzel Curry, and it's a great track, great soundtrack. In the past, he's written for lots of other artists. He's got a wealth of great mixtape material. He worked a lot with Joe Budden and toured with Joe Budden. Really, really solid guy. Great to talk to. We talked a lot about all kinds of things, ranging from music to gentrification here in Denver, to lots more. So, without further ado, here's the interview. Okay, all right. Okay, so Trev, I wanted to start off with your grandpa played with Jimi Hendrix, right?
Yeah, y'all been doing y'all research. It's already starting good. All right. Yeah, man. So the crazy thing about that, it's a whole drawn out story. You know what I'm saying? But it's like my mom's mom. You know what I'm saying? Her last name isn't my mom's last name. So it was kind of like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, where did Rich come from? Having a last name like Rich was really just like, yo, this is dope, but I want to know the backstory of my name. You know what I'm saying? So, and I always grew up thinking that my grandma's husband was my grandpa. You know what I'm saying? Because he was just like, he held it down. So, like, my biological grandfather, turns out that he wasn't around because he was touring the world and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So
that's a good excuse.
Yeah, seriously. And I really found it out like within the last like 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So my whole life, nobody else in my family was really musically inclined like that. Like, you know, like we have talent in our family, but to have it as like a passion, as a dream, I don't feel like a lot of people in my family like had it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and So I just like start wondering where it came from. Like my mom, she wasn't into music like that. Like my dad, he wasn't into music to, you know what I'm saying, to the point where he's like rapping and recording. Like my dad was a part of a label a long time ago, but he was more like, you know what I'm saying, on the other side of the label. So me trying to figure out where it came from, and then my mom kind of like spilled the beans, like, you know, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. But it was because, you know what I'm saying, he ended up passing away before I got a chance to even meet with him and talk with him. But then I like start doing, like, finding out something like that, you start doing research, and I found out like a whole bunch of different types of stuff with my grandpa. So it was just like, okay, now I know, now it makes sense why I'm doing what I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? So it was just a crazy story. And then to find out he was like with Jimi Hendrix, that made me be like, yo, I got to go hard. Like, I'm not even the star of the family no more, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is.
Have you seen like pictures with
Man,
the two?
I seen pictures, bro. Like my grandma, she had pictures. Like there's articles online. Like,
oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So me just figuring it out, and that like kind of tied everything together with my last name and finding out where it came from, and then finding out what my grandfather actually did. Like, it was just nuts, bro. So you know what I'm saying? I feel like I made the right choice by switching my name to my real name. You know what I'm saying? It holds a lot of weight.
So obviously a lot of people have learned about you recently from the Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about how that came about?
Really, like, Francois was there. My boy Matt
Was where?
We were at the studio. And actually Matt had came out here to do like an A&R show. And I ended up linking with him like, man, can I play some music for you? Because Matt is like one of the head A&Rs at Dreamville, which is J. Cole's label.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm like, let me play some music for you. And he was like, yo, music is crazy. He was like, I think you should do like, just take 6 months to a year and really put it behind songwriting and see what you can do. So I'm just like, at first I was like, nah, I'm about to do my own shit. Like, I don't want to write for nobody else. Even though I came from that background. Like, I came from the songwriting background. So I was like, all right, let me do it. But then me going, after that conversation, it was probably a month later that I'm going out to LA, and he's like, yo, I got sessions for you. Let's do this. So I'm like doing a whole bunch of sessions. But it's fun again. You know what I'm saying? I'm like songwriting for other people. Like, yo, this could be for this person. This could be for this person. And then I got the call like, yo, I got something crazy for you. So I'm like, all right, cool. I pull up to the studio and I meet DJ Khalil. And he's like, yeah, so I'm working on this, I'm working on a placement for Spider-Man. And I'm like, Spider-Man what? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And he's like, nah, so it's a new Spider-Man movie coming out. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's up. He's like, what is he? So he shows me the trailer for it. And I see the trailer and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, we got to do this. You know what I'm saying? So we ended up like within that session, probably in the next like hour, 2 hours, we already had like the intro, pre-hook, all of that stuff ready. And he was like, man, let's just lace it and see how it sounds. So I'm like, cool, I lace it, but I lace it with the idea that I'm doing this for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So
this was just going to be a reference track.
This was a reference track.
Yeah,
that's all it was a ref. You know what I'm saying? So that's the funny thing about it is it was just a reference track, which is why my name is Trev Rich on the soundtrack.
Yeah, we were talking about that before.
Because that was just me being a songwriter. Like, this is where my check is coming, and Trev Rich, you know what I'm saying? So I ended up just being Trev Rich on the soundtrack because I did it as a songwriter, and they just ended up leaving me on the song. You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy. But
while we're touching on that, I believe he's the one who informed me that you're listed as Trevor Ricci on Google Music.
Yes.
Right. Like,
how did that? What's the deal with that? Why hasn't that been changed yet?
Google got to put some respect on my name. That's what it is. And I think it's because I be popping that iPhone shit. I always talk about iPhones, and you know what I'm saying. And Google kind of not liking that right now. But me and Google gonna have to get an understanding. Like, yo, I need my name right on there. I mean, it still comes into the same account, but at the same time, if somebody's looking for me as Trev Rich, they're not gonna find me on Google Music. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, that's a minor fix. We just gotta get going.
It's funny, you got your beef with Google Music. Joey's got his beef with Apple. So, you know.
That's funny. I feel like everybody gets to pick, you know what I'm saying, little certain beefs that even though they'll never acknowledge us, we got beef with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to pick those beefs every now and again.
Exactly. So you mentioned that for Elevate, you spent you obviously worked with DJ Khalil.
Yeah.
Did you spend any time with any of the other artists on the track, Denzel Curry?
So basically, like, I don't know how much I can say because there's so many things that went into this. You know, like with the music, there's a lot of politics. So it's like really a lot of the labels like want certain soundtracks. And you know what I'm saying? It was like different artists who were probably supposed to be on the soundtrack, but then they probably would have never got it cleared because a certain label had the soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that go into that. So with that being said, like Khalil was really like the point guy when it came to, okay, this person's gonna sound good or this person's gonna sound. All we needed was the hook. So you know what I'm saying? He's like, let's get this hook, let's get this hook, let's get this hook. We got the hook. And then, even funnier story is when we first did the hook, it was so perfect. And then he was like, Trev, I'm like, what's up? He was like, we did the hook on the wrong beat. Right? So, like, there's a version of the Elevate track on a different Spider-Man beat, which is insane, too.
That he even likes even more is what you're saying?
I don't know if he likes it more, but I know the one that's...
How do you feel about it?
I like them both. Because they both, like, super Spider... Like, either one of them could have went, you know what I'm saying? But it was like he really, like, honed in on Spider-Man and, like, superhero sounds. And, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So you might have to leak that.
Right? You need to do a remix.
Yeah.
Do a remix with that beat.
Exactly.
With that
there
beat.
You go. So what kind of things are happening right now as a result of that kind of exposure? I mean, obviously the soundtrack has been huge.
It's really like, bro, like, and I still feel like it hasn't settled in yet. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like so many things are happening back to back to back to back to back. It gets to a point where it's like, oh shit, we're nominated for Billboard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so many things happening with the soundtrack, and even not just the soundtrack, but that song on the soundtrack. Like, I was just sitting like a lot of things I find out just like everybody else finds out. Like, I was sitting in my house, and then I looked at the Oscar commercial, and I heard my voice on it. So I posted it online, and then there was a couple people who worked on the record, and they're like, was that on TV? And I'm like, yeah, man, this was on TV. So everything that's happening with it, like, we just find out with the rest of the world. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's a roller coaster.
That's wild.
Okay. All right, cool.
Nuggets need to add it. I hope the Nuggets hear it.
That playoff song,
bruh, the Nuggets,
some help now,
the Nuggets slogan is elevate.
It is on all the billboards all over.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Just add it, Nuggets. Come on, Nuggets.
I ain't gonna have a comment. I don't have any comment on the Nuggets. I'm a Heat fan, and I'm just an unapologetic Heat fan. So
listen. I understand. Like, people hate that I loved. Like, bro, like the Nuggets are like the home team. Like, I love the Nuggets. The Heat were like my heart at one
really,
time, bro. Like, serious. And it was before the LeBron. Like, in high school, I used to wear my D-Wade jersey. Like,
you just earned so many points with me. You don't even know.
D-Wade, I used to wear my D-Wade jersey over my basketball jersey. Like, it warming up. Like, okay, come on. I gotta get into my inner D-Wade. You know, but D-Wade was my favorite. But in Marquette, like, everything, D-Wade was like that guy. So seeing him go out like he went out this year, like, that made my heart happy.
Like a king.
Yeah, for real, bro. Crazy.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier about your background is in songwriting.
Yeah.
And how you've written for other artists.
Yeah.
Are there types of songs, types of artists that you are particularly drawn to?
I just, like, really because, like, there are certain people who are solely songwriters, and then you have, like, singer-songwriters, artist-songwriters. So it's really, like, I have a certain sound that I naturally adapt to. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we mesh together, and that might be the case with this artist or this artist or this artist. So I really don't, like, step out of, like, what I'm comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? Like the Elevate was probably the most uncomfortable that I was. Really? And it turned into something great. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, now I'm kind of learning, like, it's not about what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I'm blessed to have a pen. You know, a lot of people don't have a pen. So being blessed to have a pen, I have to use my pen, like, in any way possible that I can. So now it's gotten to a point where I don't care if it's pop, R&B, like, anything. I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? If I could feel it and I could vibe with it, I'm gonna knock it out.
So let's pivot a little bit. The name of the podcast is Politickin.
Okay.
So we're gonna hit that portion of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
what's your general approach to politics? Like, how do you stay informed about what's happening?
Bro,
Be honest.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like, I'm not really like a political head. Like, that's not really my thing. And because I feel like
this discussion right now is part of the podcast of why podcasts exist. So I want you to be honest. Yeah.
No, I'm honest because like my thing is, bro, I'm just right is right, wrong is wrong type of person. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's positives, negatives. Like, I'm not the type to be like, oh, I'm gonna choose sides over here because he did this. Like, I know I done fucked up with a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, and then you get to the point where there's just certain people that you just don't like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I see this shit online though. My thing is like, I'm so wrapped up in music, like I have to really like take a break from music to really catch up on what's going on in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might go a couple weeks and then just get on like, all right, let's see what happened in the past week and a half.
I feel you. And a lot of people are like that. A lot of people are like that. People are work 60 hours, 70 hours, 80 hours, you know?
So I don't really just know, like, off bat what's going on, you know what I'm saying? But I just know, like, right is right, wrong is wrong. That's just the type of person I am, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that in this past year, you know, honestly, I've questioned just because, like, I've never questioned it before. One, I've really got into a spiritual journey. So me getting into that spiritual journey, I had to question why I'm even a Christian. Because I was raised that way, and my parents were raised that way, and their parents were raised that way. Same thing with being a Democrat. My parents were raised that way. Like, I didn't know anything about it, though. You know what I'm saying? So it's really like you have to go on your own personal quest and your own personal journey to figure out why you are who you are. And that's really what's happening to me in the last year. And you know what I'm saying? In certain areas, I found answers. In certain areas, I haven't yet. But that's why it's a journey. You know what I'm saying? It's not over yet. So,
okay. That being said, with no topic, you know, that you left being touched, or as we said earlier, have you found answers on, do you consider yourself a Christian in 2019?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I do. But I'm like, I feel like that's just like a part of my upbringing. But like me learning more and more about myself and about my faith and my spirituality, I would say now it's getting to the point where I'm definitely more of a spiritual person than a religious person.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But it's still like that background and like everything I know about religion, I try to transfer and channel into my spirituality. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Even worse than that question, do you consider yourself a Democrat in 2019?
I don't consider myself no party right now. I'm no party right now, bro. And the thing about it is that's my best answer because I'm not informed enough.
Can I ask you a question? You said the phrasing that you used a few minutes ago when you said about why black people are Democrats.
Yes.
Did that come spark out of Candace Owens? You know who Candace Owens is? She's a woman. She's a conservative woman, black woman, young black woman who her and Kanye West are like this, and Trump, and she's mad dumb in all honesty. But that's,
see, bro, I'm not up on game enough, and Kanye disappointed me so.
I mean, you're join the crowd, but.
So much.
Bro, Kanye was my favorite artist, bro.
In Chicago, bro, so
favorite artist, bro. So, like, just the disappointment that I have for him. And it's not that, like, my thing
I thought you were going in a pro-Trump direction for a second.
Hell no.
So
and that's my thing. It's not that, like, I hate Trump because he's a Republican. I hate Trump because he's Trump. Like, that's the biggest thing for me, bro.
No, that's how pretty much everyone feels. Nobody's hating on him because he belongs to a specific political party. No. They're hating on him because of the shit he says and he does.
Exactly. I mean, he's a dickhead. I don't like Trump. I don't care if he was a Democrat. I wouldn't like Trump. Like, that's just what it is with me, bro.
Okay. So, do you feel like artists with a platform in the age of Trump have like a certain amount of responsibility to speak up a little bit more about issues that they find are important to them? Not about everything, but like if something is important to them, do you think that they might have a certain amount of responsibility to talk about it?
I feel like when you get any type of platform, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a platform.
Yeah.
So it's like any type of platform that you have to where you can connect with people, like the most transparent thing you can do is be relatable. So it's like 9 times out of 10, if you feel a certain type of way about an issue, there's 100,000, a million, whatever, how many type of people feeling that exact same way. They just need that confidence to say, somebody on this platform feels the same way I do. So now I know I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I feel like that goes with a lot of situations though. That like you could see like the people who are real confident in themselves, who really talk and speak their minds, like they're not really looked at and held on a high pedestal, because a lot of people aren't like that nowadays. So then they look crazy. And I tried to use that with Kanye at first, but Kanye just fucking up now. You know what I'm saying? Because he's just a very outspoken person, and I agreed with it, but now it's just like, okay, do I hate him because he's outspoken, or do I hate him because of his views now?
I personally don't describe any kind of hatred or dislike towards Kanye. I dislike and hate the shit that he's been doing, but on the outside looking in, it looks like he obviously has his mental health issues. And, he talks about, he said at one point that part of the reason he likes Trump and he supported Trump was like, because he didn't have a father growing up, and, Trump was the man running against Hillary. And so I don't really understand that.
I don't understand that either, Kanye. And that's the thing. I'll retract that. Hate is a strong word, but I really dislike where Kanye's going. But you said, like it's really like mental health is very serious, bro.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, like, I can't speak on, you know what I'm saying, you guys' community the way I can speak on mine. In my community, in the black community, mental health is looked at as being like, it's non-existent.
It's not talked about.
It's not talked about. It's like that thing that you sweep under the rug, and it's to where people think, to the point that this is generational, though. You know what I'm saying? This is generations and generations and generations sweeping this under the rug, to the point that now that it's finally being talked about, kids are coming out and be like, well, I don't want to be crazy. I don't want to sound crazy, because this is something that's been, you know what I'm saying, pressed into your head for so long, as to where I know very successul people who go to therapy. You know what I'm saying?
You're a couple of people in the room right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the thing is, I advise people to go to therapy, because the thing about it is, it's not like we have to like go through some life changing or some like very traumatic event to feel the way we feel. Right. Like, if you wake up and you feel a certain type of way, go let that shit out.
Yes, it's all about, it is so,
it's a release.
It's a huge release. And people that have never been to therapy don't understand that you don't have to be crazy to go to therapy. Yeah. It is hugely beneficial to anybody.
Yeah. Because, and that's the thing, like, a lot of people, where it really gets to the point where mental health is scary, is that a lot of people bottle it up. Yeah. And then they bottle it up to the point that they go do something rash. Right. You know what I'm saying? They go do something irrational. They go do something crazy, because they have all of this bottled up and they don't have that release. So maybe you wouldn't have done that shit if you went to therapy.
Yep. If you had some kind of healthy release.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Are there any issues that are particularly important to you or of interest to you?
My big issue is, like, I feel like there's a lot of, especially in this community, there's a lot of PTSD. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a lot, just because, like, if like, there's certain people that I know, and this is in our community as well, who went to the army. You know what I'm saying? Who went and fought, who've seen, like, people die in front of them. And then I know people who grew up on these streets who've seen the same thing.
See the same thing, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So why is it okay for this person to have PTSD but not this person? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I feel like in our community, that's a very big thing. I feel like in every community. Like, if you've seen something and you've been traumatized by it, there's a chance that you have PTSD. It doesn't have to be, like, this extreme or this low. But even if it's a low case of PTSD, go get it checked out. Because a lot of us don't know what we have.
I mean, I haven't really thought about that at all previously, to be honest with you. So you just that's big. I mean, I haven't really thought about that at all.
Yeah.
Dope. Okay. Wow. Okay. I mean, you just blew my mind a little bit.
True though, man. Because especially like Chicago,
a lot of other
about Chirac
exactly.
And all this stuff,
Like, that's what I'm saying.
Bro,
it's war,
like,
bro.
Dude, yeah,
it's war.
They describe it that way, but then they don't see the people in the community as victims of that.
Yes,
or anything,
bro.
You know
Exactly.
What I'm saying? So,
and it's just like, and the thing about it is, it's not that you have something; it's that it's untreated.
Yes. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like, it's okay to have something. It's not okay to be walking around with something and it's untreated. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you have this, I've seen, like, a couple of my friends, like personal friends, very close friends, have to carry caskets all year. That does something to a person. You know what I'm saying? That takes a piece of you away every time, and it's just like, this should not be treated as an extreme, and this not treated as an extreme. And that's my biggest push right now.
Yeah.
My biggest issue that I want to stand behind is that push.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, doubly. I think that's great because you hear a lot of generic talk about mental health, or you hear about talk that's focused on solely depression or things like that,
Yeah,
but you don't hear a lot of people talking about PTSD, which is obviously a huge issue, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
But you never hear a lot of talk about it, which is why I was kind of like blown away when you brought it up.
But I think, like, even to the point with depression, you know what I'm saying? I feel like there's certain triggers and there's certain things in depression that can be broken down into different, you know what I'm saying? I feel like depression is the umbrella.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there's different things in that umbrella that can be broken down into. And I feel like certain people just say, oh, I'm depressed, or I have an issue with depression, rather than going deeper into the issue and pinpointing, okay, it's this.
Right.
Okay, it's this. Okay, it's this. Okay, it's this.
Right, because
You know
there's
what I'm
also a
saying?
bunch of different causes of depression. You know, there are people that have experienced things that create it, but then there's also just chemical imbalances, you know, where you just need a pill to feel better, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly, bro. There's a lot. It's a lot, bro.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, we do so much. We go to the gym. We get our bodies right. The girls go to Miami and get their butts done. Like, there's nobody.
You got to do less of that. That's very dangerous. It's a very dangerous.
It's very dangerous. But I'm saying, even like, this is what people are focusing on, but this is the thing that our minds.
Yep.
Like, nobody is willing to spend money on enhancing their mind over their body.
Another great point.
You know what I'm saying? And that just shows kind of the times we're living in too, like the age of Instagram.
So, have you been paying attention at all to the list of candidates emerging to take on Trump?
No,
not
I
really.
hope Kanye's not one of them.
No, he's not. He's not.
Okay.
He wants to succeed Trump as the next Republican president. So,
God.
I mean, you know,
So he's waiting. He's waiting.
2024,
Oh my goodness.
he's next up.
Okay, so who? I don't even know if I'm gonna know anybody on this list. But
Bernie
I would
Sanders, you know Bernie?
Oh, Big B. Yeah, we need Bernie.
He's back.
Yeah, we need Bernie in that thing. I liked Bernie before, and nobody liked Bernie. You know what I'm saying? I feel like everybody wants to see the Hillary and like Bernie was our guy before. I'm going for Bernie. I'm going for Bernie. I don't even got to know the
There's
rest of the candidates.
there's some good people. There's some good people.
Are they good like Bernie though? Bernie, my
we
guy.
can talk about that. I mean, the thing with Bernie.
What is your see my? No,
I'll say some
What's
shit.
your cons with Bernie? I don't want to know your
I'll
pros.
say some shit. Wait, hold on 1 second. We got to wrap this up in 7 minutes, or
You know what? I'm trying to ask them.
We gonna go till they kick us out. Come on,
all right.
let him go.
So here's the shit. This is how I feel about Bernie. I like both of you supported Bernie in 2016.
Okay.
My thing with Bernie is, I like Bernie. He's obviously a cool dude. But my beef is more with the people that are surrounding him.
Okay.
Than him.
The homies. Okay.
Yeah, he's got a lot of young people that don't really know policy, that don't really know how the government works, a lot of them are
The Bernie bros, dude.
Yes, I mean there's some problems with people that support Bernie. There's some of the people that support Bernie, and I don't know that I would have a lot of confidence in his ability to really oversee a whole country full of half of a country that's full of mean ass prejudiced people.
Yeah.
And
Bernie got a good heart. Bernie got a good heart. We'll say that.
That's the thing, and those are the people you got to work with.
See, Bernie just needs some killers around him. That's the thing.
Now that I'll give you.
You know what I'm saying? If Bernie come like he is, and he got some real killers around him, then Bernie gonna do some good shit.
He's too sweet. That's part of the issue.
Yeah.
That's part of my issue. I like a couple of people. I mean, there's a new dude. You haven't heard of him, I'm sure.
No.
But he's
Buddha guy.
Pete Buttigieg.
Buttigieg. I don't know how to say his name.
His name is Pete Buttigieg.
That's it. Okay. I'm
is-
getting a thumbs up all across the room. I'm gonna have to look him up.
He's getting a lot of attention. He's like the exact opposite of Donald Trump in that he served in the military. He's He's 37 years old.
Okay.
He's the mayor of this small town. He speaks 5 languages.
Okay.
He's a Rhodes Scholar. He's a genius. He's gay.
Yep.
He's just like exciting young.
Oh,
like Barack Obama said, he's like the future of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And
he's already got a nickname, Mayor Pete. There.
Everybody calls him Mayor Pete. Like he's like he looks like he might be the dude. Like there's a lot. There's like 18 or 19 people that are currently running.
Okay,
So.
I'm gonna have to look up Mayor Pete.
Mayor Pete, yes.
Okay.
But there's
Him and Bernie. I'm about to look up him and Bernie. Then we're gonna have this talk again.
And there's some other people that might, Joe Biden might get in, but I don't think, we'll see what happens.
After that recent stuff.
Joe a gangster, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I like Joe, but a lot of people recently have some things. He's scratching his head, so he might not like Joe so much anymore. But I mean,
I feel like Joe is like the gangster that Bernie got to have around him. Like I don't feel like Joe could run the show.
The stuff with
that's what the thing. That's why.
Recently,
that's why he was around. He was
That's
Barack's gangster.
That's what I'm saying. He got to be like that with Bernie.
Pull up the list of presidential candidates. We can talk about this right now.
My phone's right there, but
Oh,
I got
right.
a few all the time. I had Kamala Harris, Cory Booker.
Oh yeah.
Julian Castro.
Kamala Harris is one.
Kamala
She's in
Harris.
the top tier. She's a senator. She's half Indian, half black. She's the senator from California. She had a thing. You remember a few months ago, they asked her about if it was on Sway. Was it on Sway? Yeah, they asked her about smoking weed.
She lied.
She lied and said she remembers
Tupac,
smoking weed and Tupac. And I was like, that was 3 years, 4 years.
She got to get cut out for that. She can't be lying to the people.
Beto
O'Rourke, you know who Beto is?
No.
He ran for Senate. He lost last year in Texas, but he got real close. He's a young guy. He's a lot of excitement around him. Well, we'll see again. There's like literally almost 20 people.
You just need some young gangsters, bro. That's what it is.
You gotta have young energy. You
gotta balance that bullshit Trump just put into the whole country. You gotta balance that shit out, bro. Because it's a lot of bad shit going on. But I feel like, for me personally, it's good. I would rather see how people feel about me up front. You know what I'm saying? Rather than you hiding it.
Here you go. It's like that Malcolm X quote.
Yeah, don't hide it. Show me who you are, for real.
The liberals are the foxes.
Y'all know a lot about this shit.
I was a sociology major, so
All right, so let's pivot a little bit. Mm-hmm. So this. I mean, this is no hyperbole. You're the biggest rapper to ever come out of Denver. I mean, by the way, have you ever sat back and thought about that?
Bro, yes.
Besides,
who was the dude in the 80s?
He can't really say. He can't really name somebody.
No, it was like a big 80s DJ dude. I can't remember.
Grandmaster Flash is not from Denver. Come on now.
No, it was.
What's the name had a hit? What you call him?
If you can't name him, he's not big.
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Tag team.
Sir Mix-a-Lot's from Seattle, my friend.
No, bro, is he not?
You talking about Mixmaster?
Who am I talking about? There's someone that.
Mixmaster Mike.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, maybe I'm tripping.
Is that group that had the early tag team back again?
Tag team back again.
No, they're from Denver.
Yes.
Damn, I thought they were from Miami. They had the whole Miami sound. I've been claiming them from Miami.
They stole the vibe.
Damn,
bro.
they stole that shit. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm mad now. You're definitely the biggest rapper out there. Okay. All right.
That's funny.
By the way, have you ever just thought about that? You're the biggest rapper from your city. That's dope, man.
I've never thought about it because I feel like if I sit back and think about it, I'm gonna live in that moment. You know what I'm saying?
You're not that dude, man.
No, I am, bro. Because the thing is, I'm a person, if I'm not on the move, my mind is moving too much. So if I sit back and be like, man, you know what? I am the best rapper here, then I'm gonna slow down. You know what I'm saying? And not really reach, because I feel like
you want to keep progressing.
Exactly. We just keep lifting the bar because there's some real dope artists who's they deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Yes. They deserve to get that light shined on them the same way I went and worked for it, but I want to make it easier for them.
Yes, for sure. I feel like a lot of artists in Denver a few years ago got almost there and then just kind of chilled.
But it's the thing about it is when you in Denver, it's very easy to get hot. You know what I'm saying?
You mean hot in Denver?
Yes, it's very easy to get hot in Denver. But the thing about it is you see artists get hot 3 months, you don't hear about them.
Exactly.
There's no follow.
So it's the staying hot.
Yes.
Staying hot is the biggest thing that's very hard in Denver because Denver is, like I said, you get so hot and it you peak fast.
Yeah.
So you like shoot up and then bam, you hit that ceiling.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
So, how do you think the scene has changed? Like recently, let's say in the last 5 years.
I don't see. The thing is, I don't want to say this. How can I say this without being disrespectful?
No, you got to say it because we all know what you're gonna say.
I feel like there's always been talent in Denver, but now I feel like it's way more. Like there's so many different people coming from different angles.
Yes.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like not just like I feel like it was one lane
Yes.
before. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just like you have this lane, you have this lane, you have this lane. As to where we're not even worried about running in somebody else's lane. You know what I'm saying? They can do them and they can succeed and you like them. I'm doing me and I'm succeeding too. Oh, she's dope. She could sing. She's doing hers. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you have all these different lanes and everybody's moving 100 miles per hour. So it's just really like the race. This is the race, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like trying to stay where I'm at in the race. Like if I slow down, somebody's going to pass me.
There you go.
And I would rather, you know what I'm saying, not play catch up at this point in my career. I just need to keep pushing.
So, that being said, how do you think the huge influx of out-of-staters in the last 5 years has affected the scene? Because a lot of these people that have come in the last 5 years, they're in the scene now, and they're like, "Yo, I'm trying to bring where I came from and put it into the Denver scene." How do you feel about that?
I feel like as much as people say it's like, people say it all the time, like if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. If you can make it in LA, like if you can make it in Denver, like seriously, if you can make it in Denver, you can literally make it anywhere. Because the thing about it is, like Denver is finally getting to a point where they're like, okay, we can support multiple artists. Because before it was just like, no, he's the best. No, he's the best. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, it looks like, okay, the city can support multiple artists. And at the same time, like, that shows these artists that we don't have to fight for this position. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to fight for their love. But it was hard enough for us as Denver artists to get that. So I can only imagine what an artist from out of town is getting, trying to get the same shit we get. We from here. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know, bro, but talent speaks for itself. I tell people all the time, like, if you talented, you gonna make it happen.
Man, one person that I think you did a song with Sid MF Kid.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you feel about him? So he hasn't put out music in a little bit though.
Sid, like, okay, so I know Sid, you know what I'm saying, like on a different level. You know what I'm saying? Not saying like this is my best friend, we talk every day, but I know Sid recently had a child.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And shout out to Sid because like I seen like, you know what I'm saying, I was at his show and his girl was back there pregnant and you know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is being young and having a child, like it really makes you man up in a sense, you know what I'm saying? Like just outside of music. So that was probably a much needed break for Sid to, you know what I'm saying, one, grow musically, grow as a man, grow mentally, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's probably the only reason we haven't heard no Sid.
Yeah, for sure. No, I like Sid too. He's a good dude.
And Sid is a wild boy, bro. Like you gotta realize that. Like all the little shit Sid was doing prior to having a baby, he's probably like, I'm never gonna do that again. But he might, because he's that wild, you know what I'm saying? And I just recently seen a snippet of some new Sid music too, so I know he's coming with some new shit.
So, a little bit, rewinding a little bit, with all the talk of the out-of-staters, do you have any thoughts about how we've had this rapid gentrification in Denver and how it's affected the minority communities in Denver that have always been here, that were here before Denver was this hip, weed legalizing city?
Yeah. I feel like this is because I don't want... Man, I'm about to piss some people off. I'm not a fan of, like, taking people's neighborhoods that they grew up in, grandparents grew up in, and kind of pushing them out. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fan of that. I do know with new money comes things like this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I understand it. And going back to the whole conversation about gangs and things like that, like, This is an area that's predominantly Crip territory. You know what I'm saying? Park Hill is an area that's predominantly Blood territory. I see people walking through there. I see people walking dogs. I see people running. I see a different neighborhood that I grew up in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sure these people see it who grew up on the east side see a different neighborhood. It's even called something different. It's called Rhino now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I see it, and the thing about it is me thinking about the gang structure. I feel like in that case alone, this was a positive move because of gang structure. You know what I'm saying? Like, not saying that we want to push the Crips out the east side, we want to push the Bloods out of Park Hill, but this is something that we've known for years to the point our parents have known this. Their parents have known this. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a fresh start for people. I'm all for a fresh start for people. I'm not for the way that they're getting the fresh start. You know what I'm saying? I'm not for pushing people out, but I am for, okay, I've grew up on this block, and I'm a Blood, and I'm this and that, and okay, now we live in Green Valley. Now this is a totally different area. So you might walk down the street, you be like, hey, man, what's up? And y'all are from two totally different turfs, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, I'm all for fresh starts. Like, I don't really want to go into the gang culture just because, like, me growing up around, like, very close to it, not being a part of it is really, like, I get to see from the outside looking in. You know what I'm saying? So I'm all for, like, the whole, like, let's big our people up, let's move our people. Like, my grandma, she lived in Park Hill forever. She moved and she got a dope house in Green Valley. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just
nice out there.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. And it's just like, I don't want people to think that I'm all for gentrification, because I'm definitely not for it in the sense of, okay, now
displacing people
just because
for no reason.
Displacing people, one, and we get to look at you in a certain light because we have more money than you. You know what I'm saying? Cold Crush was probably one of my favorite bars ever of all time in Denver.
That was so.
And I'm from Park Hill. You know what I'm saying? Cold Crush was my favorite place ever. And it's just like, to see how that was done, I don't agree with the higher ups. I don't agree with them at all. You know what I'm saying?
Man, that whole street, because Joe's Liquors too, they tried shutting them down too.
Everything,
man.
bro. Everything. So it's just like, it's like, I'm very like 50-50 with the whole gentrification. I do love seeing like the energy that it brought. I hate how it had to bring that energy, but I do love seeing the energy that it brought to, you know what I'm saying, this city and these neighborhoods. Because
you like the energy of the boutique cupcake shop? I'm just fucking.
Yeah, it's just like, you get to, I have kids, you know what I'm saying? So if people disagree with anything I'm saying, just agree with the fact that I want my kids to grow up in a safe environment. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. And I feel like they can walk down these streets now. There was points in times where I was growing up, I was scared to leave the house, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just because there was so much action. So just to know, like, it's getting to a point, hopefully soon. And then I see, like, even to the point where they're having these, like, big gang meetings now. And it's like the Bloods and the Crips are there, and they barbecuing, and they shaking hands, and they're talking.
Damn. All right.
I seen this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting there like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
These is people who've grown up, and this person has did this person did this. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to go into too much in depth because you don't want to remind them of their past. Yeah. But to see them be able to have a conversation as a man. You know what I'm saying? Let's put this behind us. Let's have a conversation as a man. And it's just like, dang, I didn't even know you was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's you could never get to that personal level previously.
Exactly,
Man,
exactly.
Touching on that a little bit, I know have you worked with Nipsey Hussle?
Nah.
Okay, but I saw that you were at the
in LA?
Yeah, in LA for the memorial, right?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know how's that impacted you?
Like, bro, like I was in, like, and the thing about it is I was in LA working. Like, I was doing the songwriting stuff, so I was just in the air. It was in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even have to go to the memorial. I didn't have to go to the funeral. It was in the air. You could tell, like, they lost, like, who was that guy for them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, and on top of that, I feel like nobody wanted to see it happen to Nipsey. You know what I'm saying? But the things that's happened afterwards, I don't know if they would have ever happened. You know what I'm saying? If they would have ever happened, if it happened any other way. And like I said, I've been getting into my spirituality. I feel like this is what had to happen, you know what I'm saying, for all of this stuff. It was a domino effect. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Nipsey was prepared for it. I feel like he didn't know how it was going to happen, but I feel like he was.
Oh, he was definitely prepared for it. He had his kids are taken care of. Everything's taken care of in his family. I mean, they didn't need none of that Kickstarter stuff. He had everything taken care of.
Yeah, and it's like you get to and it's like you're sad because it's like, man, this is somebody who I listen to this, but then you get to see like how his family is, you know what I'm saying, and how they're trying to hold it together. And he's like, man, look, I can't be like, you know what I'm saying, like I can't feel that way. Like, yeah, everybody loved Nipsey, and it's like it's just crazy because it's a lot of people who is just like, now everybody loves Nipsey. Like I've been seeing Nipsey love.
I've been pushing Nipsey on people for years.
That's what I'm saying.
Since the first Bullets Ain't Got No Name.
Yeah.
Like, literally for like a decade I've been pushing Nipsey.
That's
on people.
Crazy. That's crazy. And it's just I'm
just so infinitely happy he got to the point where he was getting his shine. He did get that Grammy nomination. People now he did get that mass exposure that he did deserve for.
That's what I'm saying. Like people that y'all didn't like he got nominated for a Grammy, y'all. Like,
and that was one of the best albums that came through last year. I mean, was it even?
It definitely was, and it still is.
Yeah, still. I mean, everybody would still be listening to it even if it hadn't happened. So I mean,
and it's just like the thing where I can be sad. I can listen to certain songs and get emotional, but the thing is, I feel confident in Nipsey served his purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he served his purpose, and if you think about it that way, you can be confident that he's happy somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's my biggest thing. If he's happy somewhere, then you gotta, you know what I'm saying, keep pushing. And fulfill your purpose. This should motivate everybody, bro. This should, if anything, if you didn't even like Nipsey, just seeing the everything that happened, like, bro, I've never seen a celebrity death like this. You know what I'm saying? And I was alive. I wasn't that old, but I was alive with the Tupac. I was alive with the Biggie.
My mom's best friend was there when they announced the Tupac thing, and my mom and my mom's best friend were crying, like tears were coming out of them when they announced that shit on. And I was crazy. Like, how old was I? That happened in what, 98? So I was
like 90.
I think it was like 95, 96.
No, it wasn't 95.
No, it was. I'm telling you.
Tupac was like 95, 96.
It would have been 96, maybe. 96, maybe.
Like 95, 96.
So, yeah, I was 10 years old. So, I didn't really have a good comprehension, but, I mean, it seems like this is even bigger than... And at the same time...
Bro, the Staples Center?
Yeah, that is...
Bro, that's insane, bro. And the tickets were gone in 4 minutes, bro.
Yeah, dude, I just heard people were selling them.
I
was like,
that's when you know we're living in 2019.
Yeah. They selling the obituaries, they selling the tickets. They crazy, bro. But yeah, I've never, and the thing why I said, like, especially in this age, like, I can't say we've never seen it with Tupac and Biggie because, like, I know the effect that they had, but with the age of social media, I've never seen, like, bro, somebody will die, and it's like, no offense, but they'll be talked about for a day.
Yeah, no, somebody's significance is lessened nowadays because we have all this media and we're bombarded by all this.
Like, it was so many people talking about Nipsey so much, like, I didn't even realize, like, he had died 2 weeks prior.
It was like, this was like 20 years ago before pre-internet and all this.
Right.
Like, that's the kind of thing it was. I feel you.
That shit was crazy.
You know, let's talk about Joey. Let's talk about Joe Budden for a minute.
He coming here tomorrow. Yeah, Joe got a show here tomorrow.
Really? Oh, shit. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Are you going?
Podcast show. I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, I assumed you were going.
I'm definitely going. And I'm going to go talk some shit. He going to talk some shit, and then we're going to shake hands.
So, yeah, I want to talk about Joey for a minute.
Yeah.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Goodness gracious. Where do we start with Mr. Joseph?
Yeah, so that's what I want to know. How did that whole relationship start?
That relationship started on Twitter, bro. I'm not even going to lie to you. One of Joe's best friends is like my good friend now, Ice. His name is officially Ice. So he's like,
it's officially Ice.
Officially Ice. Yeah.
I'm not gonna fuck with him. I promise.
Hey, look, for real. So he's
anybody whose official name is Ice, I'm never gonna fuck with him.
His name's officially Ice, bro. So he's like, yo, I'm doing this unsigned hype mixtape. Y'all send me some records. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna send some records. I sent 3 records over, and I was just like, man, they ain't gonna listen to this shit. And I'm like, actually, they gonna listen to my shit. You know what I'm saying? And I try to get hype about it. And I went to sleep like not knowing, but I just was like hoping they would listen to my shit. I woke up the next day. Ice was following me. Joe was following me. And I was like, holy shit. And then they was like, Ice DM'd me like, yo, your shit fire. Where you from? I'm like, Denver. He's like, Denver? That's dope. Send me your number. So I send him the number. I get a call and I'm like, yo, this is not fucking Joe Budden. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, yo, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if you know who Imani is, but Imani
of course,
is like, yeah. So Imani, I had already reached out to Imani prior to the Joe thing even happening to get on a song. And Imani's like, yo, I charge $750, this and that. I'm like, cool. So I'm like, I'm about to get Imani his money, but then Joe called me prior to, you know what I'm saying, this even happening. And I'm like, yo. He's like, yo, if you could get to New Jersey, you know what I'm saying, we gonna work. We gonna put this together. I'm putting together a label. Let's do it. But he's like, you and Imani already had business before this, so make sure you pay Imani too. You know what I'm saying? So I made sure everything was taken care of. I got the Imani hook. I went to Jersey, and it was just like, yo, this is crazy. Joe picked me up from the airport, bro. So I'm sitting there like, what? We go.
He had a Newport in his mouth.
Most likely. And this was back in the time where he was dating Kaylin.
Yeah.
So Kaylin was there, Joe was there. So we get back to the house, big ass house. Huge fucking house. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, these dogs is running around, like everybody's in the house like this comfortable. There's a big ass flagpole. You go to the back, there's a guest house like on Fresh Prince.
Damn.
I'm just sitting there, a jacuzzi house. I'm just sitting there like, bro, I can't believe I'm here.
And this is pre-Spotify Joey.
This is pre-Spotify Joey. He had that bag, bro. Joe already had the bag.
He was always smart. He knew.
Yeah, he knew, bro. So like that was like my introduction to Joe. And then we started working on music. And that was like, I will say, like, everything that, you know what I'm saying, me putting out the record needed and all of that stuff, like, everything that I felt about Joe, one thing I can say is he made me better. You know what I'm saying?
Lyrically?
Lyrically. So Joe was like, I would think I would have, like, the hottest verse. And I get in the booth and he'd be like, yeah, that shit hard, but you gotta go harder. Like, not even acknowledge how hard my shit was. You know what I'm saying? Like, be walking in, yeah, you gotta go write something else. And I'm sitting there like, fuck, like, this has never happened before. You know what I'm saying? And then being around, like, when I'm in the studio here, I got either a bunch of friends or a bunch of girls, and they're like, oh, that shit is good, that shit is good.
No matter what it is.
No matter what it is. So I run into this person who's just like, nope. And I probably got, like, 50 no's before I got a yes. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I'm just like, yo. Like, I gotta go hard with this shit. You know what I'm saying? So that was, like, my first, like, you really gotta level up with Joe. So then I came back home, like, with that in mind. And when I came back home with that in mind, I was like, I came back home with that in mind, and I was like, I need to get in the studio. And that's when I made Dreams. So I made Dreams, and I sent it back like, yo, I don't know if y'all gonna like this. And Joe ended up putting on his mixtape, the Loose Quarter mixtape, by itself, no verse, nothing. I'm thinking like, oh shit, they like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm about to get a Joe Budden verse. Like, this is Joe about to go crazy on this record. They just left me on the whole song by myself.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, he put it on there. And then I go to sleep, and Imani's like, yo, congrats. You know, I'm just like, what the fuck? I wake up, bro. I probably had like 600 new followers on Twitter.
Damn.
Like, people tagging me. What is this? I'm just like, yo, like, this is, okay, it's really happening now. You know what I'm saying? So that was like my get up to like mood music. That was Heights 2, Heights 3. Like, that was all that era, the mood music era. You know
oh, yeah. Trust me. I'm very well acquainted. Yeah.
Joe, Imani, everybody.
So I just got the indication that we gotta get this going.
Oh, we gotta rap. We gotta rap.
Yeah. So, but I'm gonna be real greedy. I'm gonna not ask for one. Can you give me 2 Joe Budden tour stories?
Oh,
or maybe one. I mean, if you got
the thing about Joe is like around that time, like
that's the time that I want.
I was getting fucked up on tour. I was drinking like this is like young, wild Trev. So I would probably be more fucked up than like anybody. You know what I'm saying? I was in there getting like LA fucked up. I was as soon as I got off stage, I'm like, where the bar at? Like I was getting fucked up in LA. But I will say like friends. Just say friends. We're gonna say friends because I don't know the dynamics of their relationship. But Joe Budden in LA on tour. That was the first time I've ever met any porn stars. Like, literally, ever. And I'm, like, downstairs, and I'm like, that's her. That's her. Like,
Wait, ones that you knew of?
that I knew of.
Oh shit! So he's
That
hanging
I
out with
see.
names.
That's like names, bro. Like big names. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, and that was LA. So I'm just like, this is crazy. And then like we did something in Arizona. After Arizona, we went to like, there was like a strip, bro. And this was like how Market is, club wise. But it was like these big ass clubs, bro. And this was like techno. This was hip hop. This was like.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Arizona, I'm like bouncing in these clubs like, yo, this shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just got on stage with Joe. Then I'm going to these clubs. Like, tour life was like, it was nuts, bro. It was nuts. And here we had, we was just kicking it. You know what I'm saying? And then he was like, you got to come do dreams on stage. I was nervous as fuck.
Hell yeah.
I was so nervous. Like, I was like, hold on, Parks. I gotta start this shit over. Like, you know what a song?
Really?
I'm
Oh
like,
shit!
hold on,
Okay.
I gotta start over. Like, I was way too nervous, bro. So then, like after that, we went back to the room. We was like kicking it, hanging out till like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Like just some chicks. But Joe has always been like a talker, bro.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, out of everybody who, like, I've seen on tour and I've hung out with on tour, like, Joe just wasn't the one who was just, like, mashing chicks out. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll sit there with his apple juice, legs crossed, and talk to you.
Yes.
Like, talk to girls. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you think about Like, that's how Joe was.
He's a
You know what I'm
weirdo,
saying?
man. I like Joe. That's why I like Joe.
Yeah, he cool,
I mean,
bro.
I see a lot of myself in Joe. That's
Yeah,
why,
for
you
real.
know.
Yeah.
And Joe would have, like, that's the thing, like, he would have, like, and it's, like, not to knock the women we have in Denver, but like Joe could FaceTime a 10, a dime at any time. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like he was just wanting some company. He just wanted to hang out for a second and you know what I'm saying, get it over with. That was pretty much it though.
All right. Well, again, we got a wrap. So I appreciate giving us the time today. And
I appreciate y'all. This was crazy. You said it was gonna be some different questions. You gave us some questions. All right, this is crazy. I appreciate y'all having me, bro.
No problem. Thanks for having us, and thanks. Well, already. Thank you so much for listening to our second episode. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and subscribe to our podcast. On whatever platform you're listening to, Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever. We got some really, really cool shows coming up with some really, really dope guests. That was a good time. So go ahead and subscribe. And we have a Facebook page for Politickin with Eddie. We have a Twitter page. We have an Instagram page. Like and follow all these various pages. And we'll talk soon.